Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another 10 p.m. with BK. Hi, my name is BK. I'm sure if you we are friends, you know that. But because this live stream is set to public, so some of you might be seeing this on a public setting. If you're not friends yet, you just hit me up and connect with us. So I'm currently going live tonight slightly differently. I'm going live from Zoom because I want to test out a few things, right? So this is now going out from Zoom. So if you have caught some of our earlier episodes, we started off from Zoom and then I moved on to another platform. But tonight I'm going back to Zoom for a few reasons, and just wanted to also do a quick behind the scenes episode of what actually goes on. So right now it might seem very orderly, but there is actually a lot of madness behind the order. I thought that might be interesting. And also kind of to document my own process for myself as well, right? So if you are keen to explore behind the scenes with me, so obviously now you are seeing the live stream, but there are certain things that are going on behind the scenes. And tonight you get a sneak peek. So it's a bit messy, unfortunately. Please forgive me for that. I'm a single guy who is living alone, and definitely this place needs a bit of a woman's touch, but well, I'm trying to keep it as neat as I can, but behind the scenes is always like that. Well, before we go into that, I just want to share a story that I heard for the second time today, and I kind of like it a lot because it explains some of the things I'm trying to explain tonight as well, right? So there was this scientific journal that did an experiment. They wanted to find out, of all the living creatures that existed on planet Earth, right, which animal was the most efficient from getting from point A to point B. Now, by their definition of efficient was expending the least amount of energy so that they can get from point A to point B. And they did, I'm not sure how they did it, but they were able to measure the expenditure of energy for a lot of animals, obviously, right? So it turns out that the animal that came out top, that won this experiment, was the condor, a bird, right? And the condor used the least amount of energy to get from point A to point B, right? And we as human beings, we scored, let's just say, not too well. We scored pretty far down, and we were not the most efficient in energy expansion from point A to point B. But what was interesting was that this particular group of scientists, as they did this experiment, right, one of them had this spark of an idea, which happens all the time, right? He had this spark of an idea that he kind of felt that, hey, what if we add, tools into the equation? And all he did was he just got the man who was in the experiment to use a bicycle, right? And the moment they used the bicycle, man was the top, because by using a tool in this case the bicycle, we were able to expend the least amount of energy to get from point A to point B. Now, what is the point of this story is that tonight, while I'm showing you a behind the scenes look at what I do, it might seem like a lot, right? But in essence, it is entirely up to us, how. So everything is actually tools at our disposal, even like a platform like Zoom. And knowing how to use or leverage Zoom properly, there are a lot of settings inside Zoom that that a lot of people actually don't really know about and don't really utilize fully. But if you can utilize it fully, it is a wonderful tool. And in that same experiment, being able to expend the least amount of energy to get from point A to point B. So I hope that you will see tonight's episode in light of this story. And that is, I'm going to show you some things that some of you may feel that BK is crazy. BK has gone overboard, right? Which, yes, to some extent, but I can assure you, in the world of live streaming, in the world of producing content for a live audience or digital a digital platform and with audience, right? I am the man without the bicycle yet. Because I know friends who are way more advanced than I am, and I respect them for that. Of course, they have a passion, a serious passion for the craft, right? And they really do spend a lot of energy and effort in producing shows. They produce shows, you know. For me, this is more like a personal challenge. It's not a show. So I'm just going to show you some behind the scenes thing that is going on that then enables me to do this show for you now, right? I mean, this live stream for you now. So today, because I'm not using the other platform, I just wanted to say we are on day 11. We are on day 11. We are in double-digit territory. So this is day number 11. So, and I'm pretty excited. And another happy thing I want to kind of report to you is that I kind of have started to look forward to 10 p.m.s. And I hope you do too, you know. So those of you who are watching, you have seen my program, I mean, you have seen the live streams. Do me a favor, you know, if you think that some of the things I'm sharing can actually help somebody, whether is it through the stories that I share, the live streams, or even the books that I may talk about, please help me to share out, you know, so that people can benefit. And I think there's always a ripple effect, a positive ripple effect. So, okay, less rambling, more behind the scenes, right? So you see, the thing about Zoom is that you can log in with multiple accounts. So although now I'm on Zoom now, I can still log in on Zoom using my phone, which is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to log in using my phone. I'm going to log in using my phone, okay? And I'm able to use the camera on my phone. So I'm just going to take you through a very quick tour of what's going on behind the scenes, so that you kind of can see what's happening. So first thing first, this is obviously the monitor, and this is what you're seeing now. And right on top there, this thing here, that's the camera that I'm using. That's the camera that I'm using for the live stream. It's a Canon mirrorless camera. It's a Canon M6 Mark II, which is pretty decent. I like it. It works well for me, and also it has a small form factor. So when I go out and when I go out and do shoots, photography for fun, it's also quite easy to bring it out, right? So that's the camera. This is the monitor that I can see myself or see the content whenever I do a program, right? And then beside the monitor, there are two speakers. These are called monitor speakers. So I use them for when I'm doing editing for videos. When I do edits for videos, it is good to hear them, like how it should sound for people. Some people who are music producers actually do use this more than I do, because these are called neutral speakers. They are not too biased in either way. So when you do a mix for your audio, you can make it sound the way you want it to. And I mean, that's the goal behind it. So there's one speaker here and one speaker here right now, right? And just in front of me is my iPad Pro, which is now turned off. So these are the show notes that I write for myself. Okay, so these are the show notes that I do for the previous episodes, for example, right? And so that's the iPad Pro. And then right in front of the iPad Pro is my keyboard. I got to give a shout out to one of my friends. His name is Chodrick. Chodrick is my old schoolmate. He was the guy who introduced me to this thing called a mechanical keyboard. This is a Keychron K2. It's interesting because it makes very nice sounds when you type. So it's called mechanical keyboard, and also it lights up when you type on it. Can you see that? There are actually a lot of settings you can set. So if you would like to work in the dark, this is actually quite fun. Okay. And then, so that's the front of my camera. And of course, this is the MacBook. This is my MacBook Air. And that's where it's usually closed because it's too far for me to do anything. So I usually use this monitor that you're seeing in front to do my most of my stuff. So this is a 29-inch monitor, I think. Yeah. So it's much bigger than the other one. Okay. Now then, that's the video side. And of course, video, there's one more thing, which is lights. So there are two lights here. I apologize if it's a bit bright. So there's one light to the right and one to the left. So these are two LED lights so that I get enough light on me. Typically, you look best when your cameras will not work well if your lighting is not good, right? So of course now I've set this camera to be manual, but let me just show very quickly. So if I set it to auto, when I turn it off, it will actually be able to still take me up to normal lighting. Okay, so now I've turned off the lights, right? So because I set it to a manual exposure, so that's why it doesn't automatically adjust. But if I turn off the lights and I do the camera does automatically adjust. What happens is that the image will look a bit more grainy in that sense. Okay. Now then, so that's the lights and that's the camera. And now the last piece of the equipment is actually this thing here. This is called a Rodecaster Pro. It's a mixer cum mic inputs and so on. So it actually is quite interesting because it takes four inputs, right? So there are four. You can actually take four microphones. So there's 1, 2, 3, and 4, right? I'm only using one at the moment. So if I do invite a guest to my place to do a live stream together, I can actually add another microphone if I want to, right? So you can actually control the volume up and down, right? And then some of the sound effects that you heard just now, for example, like BK is crazy, right? He is crazy, yeah. So it's kind of like tap and you can just put on something. So it is programmable. You can input different kinds of sound for you. So like right now, if you look at the top here, I can actually switch to another set of programs. Let's say if I have more than one live stream, I can put in different songs or different stingers or different sound effects for those particular places, right? So for this particular live stream, this is the one I'm using. So for example, if I just kind of planned it today as well. So let's say I say something that I think made a good point, I'll do that. Does this sound right? And if I have an urgent and important announcement to make, and if I need some personal encouragement. So this is what it does, right? So you can control the volume. It also takes in a Bluetooth connection to your phone. So you can use the phone as a Bluetooth, which is useful when you have things like guests. So for example, if you have guests that are not able to be live and they don't have Zoom, they can only make a phone call to you, then you can still do a program with them, right? So you can connect your phone, they call your phone, and then the audio is piped through to the phone here. So there are two options here. One is a hard line. So this is a physical connection. I got to plug in a cable to get this. So if I turn this up, then I can hear the audio from here, right? The other one is, this is a Bluetooth. So when I connect my phone via Bluetooth to this device and the call comes in, then I can turn it up as well and then we can talk, right? So this is how it works. So these are and of course, every single one of them, there are mute buttons. So if, for example, if I press the red button here, okay, the microphone levels are still set correctly. It doesn't change, but you wouldn't be able to hear me. So just to demonstrate very quickly. Right, so you couldn't hear what I was saying just now because I muted myself. So that is useful for times when I do a program in connection with somebody, and this is my coffee. So, and if because when you drink, it's actually quite noisy, right? So when I take a sip of coffee, you should have heard that, right? You should have heard that. So when I do a multi-person live stream and there are guests or I co-host with someone, so when I do take a sip of coffee, what I do is I first mute myself. Okay, so I mute myself, and then it doesn't get picked up by this, which is probably a good idea, right? It's probably a good idea. Now, so normally when people do shows, they kind of need to monitor their audio and also the sound effects. So for example, if I play a sound effect, right, I need to know that it's stopped playing or it's finished, right? Sorry, I'm shaking this a bit. I'm probably giving some of you vertigo. But so normally a lot of times people use something like this. So this is like a earphone they can wear over it. So let me just show you very quickly how it looks. Now the problem with this is that it's a bit warm after a while, you know, and of course some people don't like to have this appearance, right? They don't like to have this appearance. So it really depends. It really depends on you. Okay, it really depends on you. What kind of setup you prefer, right? So for me, I found a simpler or more workable solution for me, such that I can still hear my guest. Let's say if it's a presentation or whatever, and I basically use something like this. So these are earbuds. So it's not. So you can see I'm wearing one now. It's not very obvious. Okay, it looks as if you're not really monitoring earphones, but I am, so that I can hear my guest, right? And the reason why I chose this set is because it allows me to wear either ears. So sometimes when I have a whole day program where I'm doing live streams or I'm doing meetings the whole day, wearing on the one ear can become painful after a whole day, right? So what I do is I can then switch to the other ear and wear it on the other side, right? So I can switch it around. Yeah? So this set works very well because it works like that. It works on single sides. I mean, you can wear on either side, and it's via Bluetooth. So it's just more for me to hear my guest, right? It's more for me to hear my guest. So this is the MPOW Plus or MPOW 30 Plus. And the battery life is amazing. The case itself is like a power bank. So this is amazing. I have actually not charged it for almost a month plus, maybe, right? And still going strong, right? So this is one. I do have another set, but this one is more for going out. Hang on. So this other set is called a One More Color Buds. It actually sounds better for music. So I wear that when I go out because for a very particular reason, a peculiar reason, they don't pair to multiple devices. Most of the time, earbuds do pair to multiple devices, but this particular set, while it's very good, it sounds okay, it sounds great, it doesn't pair via Bluetooth to multiple devices, and it became a bit problematic when, let's say, I go out and I pair to my iPhone, I pair to my phone, and then I come back and I want to do a show and I need to pair with this. It takes forever to do it. So the simplest solution was to get another pair, and it happened that the MPOW was on sale. It was, I think, the 9/9 sale. Nowadays, you guys realize that there are sales every month, right? I mean, it used to be November 11th, which is 1111, which was the Chinese version of the Bachelor Day, right? That was the most elaborate sale of the year. It's kind of like the Black Friday of US, right? So the Chinese one is November 11, which is the Bachelor's Day. And then it became 10/10, it became 9/9, it became like every month there's a sale. So I picked it up during a sale. So that was a good thing. Okay, so that's the overview. I mean, that's the behind the scenes. Now there is a scene that I guess I shouldn't show you, because the thing about this setup is, right, even worse is that when you go behind the camera or behind my desk, and that's where the real mess is. The cable management is terrible. I'm not sure how to do it. I've tried. You see, even like, can you see this little organizers on the desk? Yeah, those help to keep my table cables a bit more neater as well. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention. So my camera is now run by this power bank. It's actually an external power source, and that keeps it going for a few hours if I need to. I once did a show with another friend, and it was a whole day, and that time I still haven't gotten that in yet. So the whole day I was like switching out batteries and charging the ones. So I had 2 sets of batteries. I put in one, I charged the other one, and every time we did a program, I told him, I'm sorry, we need to keep it to an hour because the batteries will only last an hour, and then I got to switch it around. So now with this solution, it works great. It really works great, because now I don't have to worry about the power going out on this camera. It goes on as long as the power bank has power, right? And usually it's good for quite a long period of time. So I'm just going to stop this camera now. And I'm just going to stop this camera now. And well, one disadvantage of Zoom at this point in time is that I can't really see the comments, if there are any, on Facebook, right? So that's one of the downsides. So yeah, that's the downside to Zoom. But Zoom is a wonderful platform. A lot of times, Zoom is a wonderful platform. A lot of times it is very useful for a lot of things, and if we leverage it well, actually it works amazingly for many things, right? So also there's another reason why I use Zoom tonight, because I wanted to so there was an issue with the video quality when I was streaming from the other platform, and after a long communication with the developers, they kind of hinted, and this is one of my gripes, perhaps, that they kind of basically meant to say that my computer is not fast enough, right? I kind of think of it slightly differently as well. Sometimes I think it also means that you could have been more efficient in the programming. Sometimes I feel, I don't know, but anyway, so you just have to learn your tools. So in this case, I kind of find that when I use Zoom to then broadcast it out, the video quality is great. So Zoom is obviously doing something right, correct? And so as I mentioned yesterday, over the next couple of days, I will probably be testing out some other platforms, and hopefully that helps you, because some other platforms that can then show you whether it suits your needs or not, right? So that's what I hope to do. So tonight, by using Zoom, it was also much easier for me to show you behind the scenes, right? That was one reason for it. And of course, I also wanted to kind of test out the video quality. Is it really much better when I do it from Zoom to the platforms, or I have to find another platform, right? So the obvious consideration is, I am already paying for Zoom. I don't have to pay anything extra, right? I am already paying for Restream because I have been using that for the longest time. so I don't have to incur additional costs. Now, in this day and age, obviously, it's always good to be financially prudent. So if I don't have to incur additional costs, I shouldn't, right? I shouldn't. So I should make use or make full use of the existing tools that I have to get the job done. But of course, when it comes to a certain point in time, when what I have on hand doesn't suit the needs, for example, the bicycle in the story that we talked about earlier is no longer suitable for my needs to get from point A to point B, then I need to kind of think about an upgrade, but of course in a prudent manner. So that's what I'm trying to say. Okay, so hopefully you enjoyed this very sneak peek behind the scenes. I did try and tidy up a little bit, but you have seen just now a lot of cables going everywhere. But that's what it took to kind of do a show like this for you, right? Of course, it was not only meant for this. I have always been using Zoom platforms for my own work and business, right? So that was just a natural extension, right? And all these tools that I have on hand, they are just the bicycles that help me to get from point A to point B using the minimum or the most efficient way. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay, so the Rodecaster Pro, the mixer that you saw just now, so I've programmed 2 songs inside. One is an intro, which you heard just now when I started the show, and now I'm just going to take you out with an outro. So thank you for joining me, and thank you for watching this live stream. This is day number 11. We are in double-digit territory, right? And again, if you found this useful, please feel free to share with your friends so that more people can get to understand, or perhaps it might help them in their journey to do this, to do live streams for their work or for their business. So my name is BK. Thank you, and see you tomorrow.